A shop replaced the radiator fan on this 2021 BMW 430i, and it still doesn't work. No apparently related fault codes, just a bunch of confusion. Let's dig into the LIN Bus and find out what's really going on. This video is going to be packed full of service information. Lots of navigating and reading. For using ISTA, it's a great tool and it would have took an incredibly long time without it. Let's get started.
It goes right here. There we have it. Next thing's going to be the laptop. Now after just setting up the battery maintainer, the battery message is gone, but it did say battery error on the dash. All right, now we see the cluster is not active. So on these BMWs, we're gonna 1, 2, 3, triple start. That activates everything. Go ahead and turn your lights off. We already turned the air off. Diagnostic mode active. Operations, read out vehicle data. Complete identification. Lithium-ion battery safety. Lithium-ion battery voltage sensor, line open or short circuit. Lithium-ion battery cell fault. Lithium-ion battery total discharge. Permanent SAE fault code stored. Microphone, LIN 2, wake up line to intelligent battery sensor. LIN Bus communications missing. Wow. What are our fault codes? Emission relevant control unit. An exhaust gas test is scheduled for the vehicle. Do not delete. Interesting. What's the test plan say? LIN Bus communication, DME, LIN Bus communication. The diagnosis system monitors a LIN communication. The fault is detected whenever no LIN message is received. 9 to 16 volts, terminal 15's on while you're driving. The designations of the terminal status or PWF status apply according to the vehicle, electrical system of the vehicle. Condition for fault memory entry. The fault is entered if it exists longer than the debounce time. 900 seconds to 6,500 seconds. Action and service. Carry out LIN Bus diagnosis. Check lines and plug connections between the LIN user and the DME. Details. So the fault code is CD8E10. It's currently present. Triggers driver information. See down here, frequency, it happened one time, 97,000 kilometers. 16/05/2025 is when it happened. It was 32.9 degrees Celsius. 54.6 degrees Celsius was the coolant temp. Engine oil was 53. Battery voltage was 11.9. Okay. So what we're going to do is I'm going to get a picture of that real quick. Let's go to continue. Engine control unit. On some engines, example N20, it is possible that the status will only change after a battery rest. For this, individually disconnect the installed LIN bus users on the engine control unit. If the fault memory changes status to currently not present, the cause of the fault in the disconnected user partial wiring harness. If the fault status does not change, another bus user may be faulty. Okay. It tells us a little bit about the LIN bus. It's a serial single wire bus standardized for the automotive industry. The data transfer rate for the local interconnect bus ranges from 9.6 to 20 kilobytes a second. Gives us a waveform of what it should look like. This is a waveform of no COM. Okay. How about our wiring diagram? Let's blow this up. Let's go full screen. Let's do some zooming in here. Okay, what do we got? Body domain controller. We have CAN terminator, diagnosis socket, intelligent battery sensor. I'm worried that that's what it's talking about. Turbocharger coolant pump, temperature, coolant circuit, coolant pump 2, in low temperature coolant pump, low temperature coolant circuit 48 volts. DME. So most likely what we're talking about here is for the intelligent battery sensor. That's what I think we've got going on. It's not happy about that because there was faults stored for that. That's not our concern. Our concern is the cooling fan. Okay, let's check this out. The service function checks for the memory of permanent fault codes. Yes, we need to see what our permanent fault codes are. Display SAE fault codes. Permanent fault codes S0751. Okay. Give us details. Not really. It doesn't tell us much. So let's go here. Let's click on this. Let's click continue. DME, control module communication bus G off. So again, I think it's talking about the battery. When I got into the vehicle, it did have a battery fault. And so what I did was I hooked up the maintainer. Now it does not say battery fault. Okay, I tell you what. We're going to start it up and we're going to see what we have. I guess let's go continue. U0079. See if we can find that. And they do not have U0079 listed, which is fine, whatever. Let's go to in service function. Okay, let's try DME. Let's see if there is anything inside the DME that will display cooling fan desired speed, or if we have bidirectional controls or whatever it may be. Older BMWs, these are pretty straightforward and simple to figure out. Okay, diagnostic scan, component triggering, we got general, and then we have injectors, software information. So we don't have a whole lot of stuff going on here. Okay, so let's see here. This is our data. Let's see if we can find any relevant data. Electric fan, coolant temperature, cylinder head and crankcase temperature. These three all seem important. We want to know what our voltages are. Alternator target voltage, current. Might as well read alternator temperature. I really like to look at our temps. All right, read state. So electric fan, signal not available. Coolant temperature 31. Cylinder head 32. Terminal 15's on. Battery voltage 13.8. That's the intelligent battery sensor, 0 volts. So there's something unplugged or something's wrong with the IBS. Current battery temperature 127 degrees Celsius. So that must be part of the IBS being an issue. Target voltage 10 volts, battery current 50 amps. Man, these things use a lot of juice. So activation signal not available. Okay. That is very, very strange. I'm not exactly sure what to say about that. Let's go to the AC. Here, call up ECU functions. Audio, user interface, air conditioning compressor, nothing. Component triggering, radiator shutter, blower temperature, flapper motor, reset control unit. Doesn't give us anything. So who could control the cooling fan? Seats, tailgate, head unit, roof, power steering, ZBE, telematics, receiver audio, transmission, gear selector switch, cluster, dynamic stability control, transfer case, electronic power steering, airbag. Who's VIP? I don't know. Front lights, left and right. Radar. Radar. Uh-huh. It's not giving it to us. All right, so very hard to see. This is our DME. Let me blow this screen up. Very hard to see, but the bottom one is the DME. Now, we're going to scroll all the way over. This is the electric fan. I don't know if I can zoom in more or not. Yeah. Okay, this is our electric fan. This is the LIN bus that comes to the DME. Now that whole LIN bus is shared with, I guess it's shared with other things. That's not normal. Normally LIN bus means local communication. They're the only ones talking on it. But we have a ground, and then we have a 5 amp control power, which is a small wire. And then we have a, depending on how many watts the fan is, a 60 or 80 amp cooling fan power feed. So without that relay electric fan, without that relay turned on, we will not have power, but we can make sure we have power going to that relay. Let's click here. Shows us exactly where the relay is located. Then it's going to give us the connector view. Perfect. Let's see if we can do some digging. We are going to hook up the lab scope, and we are going to use a test light, and we're going to check for powers and grounds. This is the cooling fan connector, and it has a big power, a big ground, which we can see there's a little hole poked, so they're at least doing their basic checks, looking for powers and grounds. Then we have a small power, which is like a control, and then we have the LIN bus. Now I just got the scope set up, and I gotta hook up my ground. All right, now if we remember what we looked at earlier with the known good example, this is basically it. Our green wire, our green trace is the LIN bus. The LIN bus shows battery, so it's not pulling down, there's no control whatsoever. So that is a no communication. Then we have the blue channel, which is battery voltage. So we have our power, which is just fine. And I assume I'm going to check the big and small powers, but we have a LIN bus problem. That's basically what we're dealing with here. All right, so now we know that this is going to be just fine, right? So what we're going to have to do is figure out, we got to zoom in over here. Zoom in, zoom in, zoom in, zoom in, zoom in again and again. All right. Basically, I'm curious about this MLIN. I want to know about it. What is this here? Okay, on the passenger side floorboard here, we can see the yellow dot. There is X328 1V. X328 1V. I believe that that's a splice. Now, what we need to know is, does the battery LIN bus somehow correlate with X328 1V? I'm going to go ahead and get a picture of this. And we're going to exit. Oh, sorry, I went to documents. I clicked on documents down here. And now it brings us to another diagram, which I am correct. So we have, let's zoom in. All right, so we got our DME, right? Our DME is here, A46. Our X328 1V goes to body domain controller, coolant pump, low temperature circuit, 48 volts, radiator, blind drive top, intelligent battery sensor. Now we have fault codes for the intelligent battery sensor. Radiator blind drive bottom, electric fan, charging controller for auxiliary battery. So the electric fan does not work, and we have the intelligent battery sensor problem here. So let's find out where B110 is located. B110 shows that it's in the trunk of the vehicle. We have B110 and B110B. So B110 and 110B are this little blue connector that appears to be on the negative side of the battery. So we're going to have to figure out what's going on with this here, and we'll see if we can restore communication up in the front. So first we're going to do a visual inspection. I still have not yet started this vehicle. All right, here we go. Now, I've never been into one of these yet. This is my first time working on this particular vehicle. So where's the battery, right? I have no idea. Couldn't tell you. Found a quarter. Man, oh man, oh man. Tell me I don't have to pull this out. Wow. That's tight. Okay, very nice. Let's take this out, set it right over here, very gently, and let's take a look here. Now it appears that the battery terminal is good. This battery terminal is good, and this does not appear to be the type of sensor that we had going on. That's the positive for sure. So it appears that it's this one here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to bring the scope up here, and we're going to check these wires, and we're going to see what's going on. Now, I'm worried about something. Let me show you guys. This beautiful lime green vehicle. And look at that. Absolutely gorgeous, right? What this tells me is that there's been some modifications done to this vehicle. I wonder if it's possible a wire got damaged. Okay, so this is the intelligent battery sensor here. I got the scope hooked up or pierced on this purple wire, which has battery positive. I assume that that's going to be a power. We are nice and tight there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and pierce the LIN bus and see that probably we have the same thing where it's a battery positive, no communication. And the scope shows battery positive, no communication. Let's go ahead and disconnect. And we still have the exact same thing going on. That's what I was wondering about. So we're going to have to investigate what other components are on this circuit. What was that drop out? Just doing a wiggle test here to make sure. No, everything appears to be fine. Wiggle test, wiggle test, wiggle test. Right? Always want to wiggle test when wiggle test is the easier thing to do. Oh, I think I got it bad. Yeah, my test leads are getting worn out. Okay, so wiggle test is taking us nowhere. We're gonna have to dig deeper. I'm gonna go up and unplug the cooling fan in the front. We just want to know for a fact that this cooling fan is not shorting out, you know, because it possibly had a bad cooling fan and then they installed a faulty component. So, let me get you guys set up here some way. And that did not help. So we need to go figure out which other components are on this. It appears that most of this is splices done together. So body domain controller, that's going to be a hard one to undo. Coolant pump, 48 volts. Oh, it's for diesel only. Okay, good. We don't have to worry about that one. We unplugged the battery sensor. Now we have a connector here, X148. And that does radiator blind drive top and radiator blind drive bottom. Perhaps we could unplug this to see if we restore our LIN bus. And then we have charging controller for auxiliary battery and the electric fan. So auxiliary battery, charging controller. Let's see what this is. This is in the wheel well. Oh, whoa, zoom out. Okay. Scroll down. It absolutely is in the wheel well. Deeply recessed in there. Now let's go to a connector view. Let's see what it looks like. Ah, it's got a lot of wires going to it. Well, what is the radiator blind drive? Okay, it's the grill. Okay, so perhaps we could unplug that. And then what about the bottom? Aha, and it's the lower grill. Okay, I wonder if we can gain access to these and unplug them. That might be easier than pulling the wheel off of this. I'm not exactly sure, to be honest with you. Let's take a look and see. Okay, so we didn't disconnect anything yet. I determined that that was going to be too difficult at this time for me. So I go back. I'm like trying to build another game plan. And here we see it says example of an oscilloscope measurement in an intact system with a faulty slave on the local interconnect network bus. Measurement of the LIN bus to ground faulty slave on the local interconnect network bus. So what it's saying is it's getting shorted to ground. Now here where we have, it says 5 volts per division on channel 1, and it's to ground. And we can see we got per division, so that's 1 square, 2 squares, and the line is just above that. So that's battery voltage. And up here it says example of an oscilloscope measurement with no master control unit communication. Measurement of the LIN bus line to ground. In parentheses, faulty master control unit on the local interconnect network. So most likely what we're dealing with here is a faulty DME. As insane as that sounds. Let's see here. A46, the DME. So this one says LIN Bus. And this is for the coolant pump. This one says LIN Bus. So technically, these are violet wires. We should be able to unplug these. Here we go. Intelligent battery sensor. So they are on separate pins going to the DME. So it may be worth our time. Actually, sorry about that. They're not. This particular one is a splice. And they all go to that one pin, pin 27. So the real only way would be to cut the wire. That's probably the only way. Anyways, I start reading around and basically they show us a picture of a DME. And then we get the DME 8. This is the example of the DME before DME 8. And this is the example of DME 8. It says the N63TU2 has 2 identical engine control units, DME master control unit and DME slave control unit. The pinning on the control unit is identical. The vehicle side wiring harness connection is different, either ground or battery positive. This allows the DME to identify whether it's the master or the slave. Oh boy. So again, LIN, local interconnect network bus. The LIN bus is a standardized serial single wire bus. The LIN bus supplies data, other data buses, and it is used for communication between the different control units. The data rate of the LIN bus is 19.6 kilobytes per second. Oh boy. So let's go to continue. Communication problem with the following unit. Engine control unit. In test. Yeah, let's try that again. Continue. LIN bus missing. We're going to go to continue. Okay. Short circuit. All right. Following LIN bus communication fault is logged. Whatever that is, communication is faulty, missing fault currently present. Possible fault causes short to battery positive, short circuit to ground, and one of the installed LIN users. The fault status is read in the next test step. Engine control unit LIN bus function check. The fault status is continually read out. The status changes within 90 seconds. On some engines, it is possible that the status will only change after battery rest. Okay, let's go to continue. If communication fault still persists, disconnect all users and check the lines and plug connections for short circuits. Check the following lines and plug connections. LIN. So it wants me to do exactly what I've been doing. In test. Well, let's go fault data display. What's up, bro? How are you?
Hey, I'm about to go to the store for an energy drink. You want one?
Oh, no, I'm okay. Thank you, though.
Sure?
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate that.
Anything like a Gatorade? There's Gatorades in that refrigerator right there.
Oh, hell
On the
yeah.
bottom drawer. Because I know it's gonna get hot. So.
Yeah, I know. It was hot yesterday, right?
Yeah,
Yesterday was
it
scorching.
freezing in here.
Yeah.
So if you need a Gatorade, and that fridge on the bottom left.
Okay.
Red and blue.
Thank you very much. Okay, so what we're going to do is in test module. Well, we'll run it again. Okay, now if we read this, it says the charger unit for the auxiliary battery is on the right hand side of the luggage compartment, also the rear left hand side. The primary task of the charger is to charge the secondary battery system. This is connected in series in the conventional battery, and it bumps it up to 24 volts. So this thing here could be bad. The reason why is because if you guys remember, we had a bunch of faults for the auxiliary battery, look, being bad. Now I didn't pay attention to that because you always got so many faults on BMWs. So anyways, let's see if we can find out any information about this battery. Lithium battery cell fault, lithium battery ion voltage sensor. Okay. What do we get? That's nothing. Details, system context. Okay. All right, it's giving us each fault code. Okay, cool. Gives us a diag code. We got starter, alternator, battery, battery. And this is on a switch, a relay. The lithium ion battery is installed at the front right of the engine compartment. The lithium ion battery can be charged or discharged with stronger currents than lead acid battery. Okay, the right front? It's not in the right rear. We were led wrong on that. Oh, but that's where the I see, that's where the charger was. Okay, so at least we know where I should have went to wiring diagram. So let's go full screen and go to wiring diagram. Let's zoom in a little bit. All right, we got our intelligent battery sensor here, our LIN bus, a power feed, and then the ground, actually the real battery ground. Over here, we have a crash safety module, power distribution module, gas generator, safety battery terminal. Oh boy. Auxiliary battery, battery electronics module. So this is the battery electronics module, G6, and it's on the LIN bus, but it's not on the gray wire LIN bus. It's on a different color. I don't understand how this thing could be affecting us if it's not on our gray wire LIN bus. But neither is the alternator, but the alternator is on a LIN bus. So I suppose this is blue and beige. The right front, okay. So it's up underneath the cowl. Wait a minute. G6 is the actual battery itself. Now the battery itself was not on our wiring diagram. So we're not going to have to worry about the battery itself. What we're concerned about was the charger for it. Let me see here. Whereas that is an LIN, so is this with dual storage system. Oh, and it is on the same bus. Oh, it is on the same bus. Let's get to that battery. I didn't see that. As is the alternator. They are all on the same bus. I didn't see that. I completely missed it. Okay, let's see if I can get you guys in there to see this. I have disconnected the alternator, which is tucked underneath the intake manifold. Now we're going to do the turbo coolant pump. Man, that is stuck on there. Wow. There we go. Wiring looks fine. Okay, so this thing has two radiator shutters, essentially. It's got an upper and a lower. I thought this was the front radar at first, so I didn't unplug it. As we see, the waveform is looking great. It's looking perfect, exactly what it should be. Pretty much plugged everything back in, almost. Actually, just plug more stuff in. We got the lower that I had unplugged. I don't know if you guys will be able to see that. Probably not. Yeah, I know, bro. You're gonna have to disassemble some stuff.
Yeah.
But it's a learning experience on a nice ass car.
Now I know if I ever get that exact thing, I gotta check that.
I would.
Yeah.
If you got you had battery sensor codes, and then probably no cooling fan operation.
Mm.
So that was your tips.
I didn't even unplug it. It's gotta be like rusted and like stuck with that.
It probably is rusted in there, but the problem is it's shut, and we need it to open if it's gonna work. Like, because there's no air going into the radiator. So even if the fan works, it don't matter. And ain't gonna get no air.
You know,
Super hard to see, but it's a little rusty in there. And that is the problem. I wasn't able to unplug it, but I grabbed it and tried to unplug it, wiggled it around, and that's when the comms were restored. Now I'm gonna go ahead and plug everything back in, and we're gonna start it up and see what happens. All right, we're gonna go back, and what I'm gonna do is erase the fault codes. Delete fault memory. All right, we're gonna go to display fault memory. Oh, the battery. Got to plug in the battery sensor. There we go. And we'll go ahead and clear that fault memory. Fault memory. Microphone 2 line disconnection. That's all we got. We're going to watch the CAN bus as we start this thing up. And we're gonna go AC on. And we don't have a spinning radiator fan. Okay, oh, max AC, right? There we go. And now we have a spinning cooling fan, ladies and gentlemen. That's a fix. We got the W.
After chasing LIN waveforms, diving into wiring diagrams, and unplugging half of the vehicle, we finally found the fault: a shorted radiator grille shutter. Cooling fan now works perfectly, but this BMW still needs that shutter replaced. Diagnosis complete. Subscribe for more diagnostic content.